The message arrived on a Tuesday morning. Admiral Jinha stood in the center of the United Earth Defense Council chamber, his hands clasped behind his back. The room was silent except for the soft hum of the holographic projector. Around him sat the 12 members of the council, the leaders responsible for protecting humanity's future. "Play it again," Jinha ordered. The air in front of him shimmered, and an alien figure appeared. The being was tall and thin, with 4 arms and skin that shone like polished metal. Its eyes were large black orbs that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "People of Earth," the alien began, its voice translated into flat, emotionless English. "I am High Chancellor Vex of the Galactic Federation. For 50 years we have observed your planet. For 50 years we have watched your development with growing concern." The alien paused, its head tilting slightly. "Your species advances too quickly. You develop technologies without understanding their consequences. You expand without caution. You fight among yourselves, yet unite against outside threats with alarming speed." Jinha's face remained expressionless, but his eyes narrowed slightly. "The Federation Council has determined that humanity represents an unacceptable risk to galactic stability. Therefore, we hereby declare a state of war between the Galactic Federation and Earth. You have 48 hours to surrender your planet and all colonies. After that time, military action will commence." The hologram flickered and disappeared. The council chamber remained silent for several long seconds. "Well," said Councillor Park, an older woman with steel-gray hair, "they certainly don't waste words." "How many ships do they have?" asked another councillor. Jinha activated the main display screen. It showed the solar system, with red dots marking the positions of Federation vessels. "Our long-range sensors have detected approximately 500 ships at the edge of our system," he said. "Intelligence suggests they have thousands more that could arrive within days." "And our forces?" Park asked. 120 warships, plus defense platforms around Earth and the major colonies." Jinha's voice was calm, matter-of-fact. "By conventional metrics, we are significantly outmatched." The room grew tense. Some councillors exchanged worried glances. Others stared at the display, as if hoping the red dots would disappear. "Should we consider their terms?" one councillor asked quietly. "Perhaps a temporary surrender while we negotiate?" Jinha turned to face the council. For the first time, a small smile appeared on his face. "No," he said simply. "Admiral," Park said, leaning forward, "I appreciate your confidence, but the numbers don't tell the whole story," Jinha interrupted. He pressed a button on his wrist device and the display changed. Now it showed a series of underground facilities, hidden shipyards, and classified weapons projects. "For 20 years we've known this day might come," Jinha explained. "Ever since we detected the first Federation scout ships in our system, we've been preparing." He zoomed in on one facility deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. "Project Prometheus, a quantum disruption field that can disable their faster-than-light communications." Another facility, this one on the far side of the moon. "Operation Thunderbolt, energy weapons that can penetrate their shield technology." A third location, hidden in the asteroid belt. "The Phoenix program, ships with stealth capabilities beyond anything the Federation has encountered before." The councillors stared at the display, many seeing these projects for the first time. "Why weren't we informed of all this?" demanded one. "Compartmentalization," Jinha replied. "Each council has known about some projects, but not all. It was necessary for security. The Federation has spies everywhere." He turned off the display and faced the council again. "The Federation has made 3 critical mistakes. First, they've announced their intentions, giving us time to activate our defenses. Second, they've underestimated our technological capabilities. And third, most importantly, they've united humanity against a common enemy." Jinha walked slowly around the table, meeting each councillor's eyes. "For all of human history, we've fought each other, nation against nation, ideology against ideology, religion against religion. But whenever an external threat appears, those divisions fade remarkably quickly." He stopped walking and stood tall. The Federation sees this as a weakness, our chaotic, conflicted nature. They don't understand that it's our greatest strength. Humans thrive under pressure. We innovate when faced with impossible odds. We become our best selves when fighting for survival. The room was silent as his words sank in. Then, slowly, Counselor Park began to smile. "You're saying we can win this?" "War," she said. "It wasn't a question." "I'm saying we've been waiting for this war," Jinha corrected. "For generations, humanity's potential has been limited by fighting amongst ourselves. Imagine what we can accomplish when we finally have someone else to fight." He activated his communication device. "This is Admiral Jinha. Connect me with General Quan at Lunar Command and Lieutenant Harin at Mars Defense Station." Two new holograms appeared beside him. General Quan was a broad-shouldered man with a stern expression. Lieutenant Harin was younger, with alert eyes that missed nothing. "The Federation has declared war," Jinha told them. "We have 48 hours before they attack." "Finally," Quan said, his lips curving into a smile. The waiting was becoming tedious. "My teams are ready, Admiral," Harin reported. "Operation Trojan is prepared to launch on your command," Jinha nodded. "Begin immediate deployment of all Phoenix vessels. Activate the Prometheus device at T-1 hour before their deadline. General Quan, prepare the Thunderbolt platforms." "And the civilian population?" Park asked. "Implement the Sanctuary Protocol," Jinha ordered. "Move as many civilians as possible to the underground shelters. The rest should be evacuated to the deep colonies." The council members watched in amazement as the military leaders calmly discussed humanity's response to an overwhelming alien threat. There was no panic, no despair, only focused determination. "One more thing," Jinha said, addressing both his officers and the council. "When you communicate with your teams, make sure they understand something important." "What's that?" "Admiral?" Harin asked. Jinha's smile grew wider. "This is not a disaster. This is an opportunity. The Federation thinks they're punishing an upstart species. They don't realize they're finally giving us the chance to show what humans are truly capable of." He looked up at the ceiling as if he could see through it to the stars beyond and the Federation ships approaching. "They declared war," Jinha said softly, "and Earth will answer. Not with fear, not with surrender, but with a smile. Because it's finally time to show the galaxy who we really are." As the meeting ended and the council members hurried to their duties, Jinha remained in the chamber for a moment. He looked again at the display showing the Federation fleet. "You should have left us alone," he whispered to the red dots. "Now you'll understand why humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy." And despite the overwhelming odds, despite the enormous fleet approaching Earth, despite the declaration of war from a vastly more powerful enemy, Admiral Jinha smiled. "It was finally time." Lieutenant Harin crouched behind a large red rock on the Martian surface. Her combat suit was dusty, matching the color of the surrounding landscape. Through her helmet visor, she watched the Federation ships landing in the distance. They came exactly when Admiral Jinha had predicted, 48 hours and 1 minute after their ultimatum. "All units report status," Harin whispered into her com. "Alpha team in position," came the first reply. "Beta team ready," said another voice. "Gamma team standing by." Harin nodded to herself. Her soldiers were hidden across the Martian colony, waiting for her command. The Federation forces had no idea they were being watched. "Remember the plan," she said. "Let them think they've won. Let them think Mars colony has fallen easily." The Federation ships were massive, each one at least 3 times larger than Earth's biggest vessels. They landed with precision, their engines kicking up clouds of red dust. Ramps extended from their hulls and soldiers began to march out. The alien troops moved with confidence. They wore armor that shimmered with energy fields. Their weapons were sleek and advanced. There were thousands of them, spreading out to secure what they thought was an undefended colony. Harin's cum unit beeped softly. "Lieutenant, this is Earth Command. Admiral Jinha wishes to speak with you." "Put him through," she replied. "Lieutenant Harin," Jinha's voice was clear despite the millions of miles between them. The Federation has begun simultaneous attacks on all our outer colonies. Their main fleet is still holding position at the edge of the system. They're following standard conquest protocol, Harin said. Secure the outer territories before attacking the main target. Exactly, Jinha agreed. They're predictable. That's their weakness. Is Operation Trojan ready? Harin watched as the Federation forces approached the main dome of Mars colony. The dome appeared damaged, with sections of its outer shell cracked and emergency lights flashing inside. Yes, Admiral. They've taken the bait? They think our defenses have already fallen. Good, you may proceed when ready. And Harin? Yes, Admiral. Make it memorable. The Federation needs to understand what they've started. Harin smiled inside her helmet. With pleasure, sir. The communication ended. Harin turned to look at her Team 20 soldiers hidden among the rocks. They were the best Earth had to offer, each one chosen for this mission because of their exceptional skills. It's time, she told them. Operation Trojan begins now. Inside Mars colony's main dome, Federation soldiers moved cautiously through seemingly abandoned corridors. Emergency lights cast red shadows on the walls. Occasionally, they passed signs of a hasty evacuation, dropped personal items, half-eaten meals, doors left open. The alien commander, a tall being with 4 arms and reflective skin, studied a holographic map of the colony. Secure the command center, he ordered his troops. Download all their data. The Federation wants to know everything about human military capabilities. His soldiers moved deeper into the colony, unaware that every step was being monitored. In a hidden control room, a human technician watched the aliens on multiple screens. They've reached Section C, Lieutenant, he reported to Harin, approaching the command center. Perfect, Harin replied from her position outside. Activate the internal defenses on my mark. The Federation commander reached the colony's command center, a large room filled with control panels and screens. It appeared abandoned, with chairs overturned and equipment still running. Begin the data extraction, he ordered. One of his soldiers connected a device to the main computer. Immediately, warning lights began to flash. Commander, something's wrong, the soldier reported. The system is... He never finished his sentence. The computer screens throughout the command center suddenly displayed the same message in the Federation's own language. Welcome to Operation Trojan. Thank you for your cooperation. It's a trap, the commander shouted. All units, retreat immediately. But it was too late. Throughout the colony, hidden doors slid open. From concealed chambers, combat robots emerged, hundreds of them, surrounding the Federation forces. Unlike the conventional military technology the aliens had expected, these robots moved with frightening speed and precision. Outside the dome, Harin gave the signal. Her soldiers rose from their hiding places and activated their special combat suits. The suits had been designed specifically for this moment, powered armor that enhanced their strength, speed, and reflexes to superhuman levels. Breach the dome, Harin ordered. Execute Phase 2. Her team moved with perfect coordination. They didn't attack the dome's main entrances, which the Federation would be watching. Instead, they approached seemingly solid sections of the wall and placed small devices against them. The devices activated, creating temporary openings in the dome's structure, a technology the Federation had never seen before. Harin and her soldiers slipped through these openings, which sealed behind them. Inside, chaos had erupted. The Federation. Troops were fighting desperately against the combat robots, but they were caught by surprise and outnumbered. Their advanced weapons seemed less effective than they should have been, as if something was interfering with their power sources. Harin and her team moved through the colony like shadows, attacking Federation soldiers from behind, then disappearing before they could respond. Their tactics were unlike anything the aliens had encountered in their 1,000 years of warfare. Lieutenant, one of her soldiers called out, the Federation commander is trying to reach their ships. Harin nodded. Let him. That's part of the plan. The Federation commander fought his way to a communication terminal. His forces were being decimated around him, but he managed to establish a link to the fleet. Emergency evacuation required, he shouted. The humans have trapped us. They have technology we didn't know about. Request immediate. A hand tapped his shoulder. The commander spun around to find Harin standing there, her helmet retracted to show her face. She was smiling. "The Federation made a mistake," she said calmly. "You thought humans would be easy to conquer because we fight among ourselves. You didn't understand what that means?" "What are you talking about?" the commander demanded. Raising his weapon, Harin moved faster than he could follow. In one smooth motion, she disarmed him and pushed him against the wall. "It means we've been practicing for thousands of years," she explained. "Every war, every conflict, every battle in human history has been preparation for this moment." Throughout the colony, the last Federation soldiers were being captured or defeated. Not a single one had managed to escape back to their ships. "This is Lieutenant Harin to all units," she said into her com. "Mars colony is secure. Begin Phase 3. Outside, the empty Federation ships suddenly exploded one by one, destroyed by hidden charges that Harin's team had placed while the aliens were inside the colony. "What is Phase 3? the Federation commander asked, his voice shaking for the first time. Harin's smile widened. "That's when we use your ships to send a message back to your fleet." She activated her unit again. "This is Lieutenant Harin to Earth Command. Operation Trojan successful. The Federation's first wave has been neutralized. We've captured their commander and secured their technology." Admiral Jinha's voice replied, "Excellent work, Lieutenant. The same reports are coming in from Luna, Europa, and Titan. The Federation's initial attack has failed completely." Harin looked at the captured commander. "Sir, request permission to proceed with the next phase of the operation." "Granted," Jinha said. "Show the Federation what happens when they threaten Earth." As Harin ended the communication, she turned to her team. "Prepare the captured ships for immediate launch. It's time to return the Federation's visit." The Federation had expected an easy victory. They had expected humans to panic, to surrender, or to fight conventionally and lose. They had not expected this a species that welcomed war as an opportunity, that had been preparing for this moment for generations, that smiled when faced with overwhelming odds, and this was just the beginning. General Quan walked through the underground facility with quick, determined steps. The complex was buried 2 miles beneath the Pacific Ocean floor, hidden from even the most advanced Federation scanning technology. The walls were made of a special material that blocked all signals from entering or leaving. This was Project Prometheus, Earth's most secret weapon. "Status report," Quan demanded, as he entered the main control room. Dr. Lee, the lead scientist, looked up from her console. She was small in size but had a fierce intelligence that commanded respect. "The device is at 92% power, General," she said. "We can activate it within the hour." Quan nodded and moved to the center of the room where a strange machine hummed with energy. It didn't look impressive, just a metal sphere about 3 feet across, surrounded by rings that spun slowly around it. But appearances were deceiving. "The Federation fleet has begun its second wave of attacks," Quan told the scientists. "They've sent reinforcements to Mars, Europa, and Titan. They still don't understand what happened to their first wave." "They think it was just good luck on our part," Dr. Lee said. "They can't imagine that we planned for this," Quan smiled slightly. "The Federation has existed for 1,000 years. In that time, they've conquered hundreds of worlds. None have ever successfully resisted." "Until now," Dr. Lee said. "Until now," Quan agreed. He looked at the spinning device again. Project Prometheus had been in development for 15 years, ever since Earth scientists had discovered a fundamental flaw in the quantum communication technology that the Federation used. The Federation's greatest strength was their ability to coordinate their vast forces across light years of space. Their ships could communicate instantly, no matter the distance between them. This allowed them to attack with perfect timing and respond immediately to any threat. But their quantum network had a weakness, one that humans had discovered and exploited. "Show me the latest battle reports," Quan ordered. A large screen lit up, displaying footage from the various colonies. On Mars, Harin and her team had used captured Federation ships to ambush the second wave of attackers. On Europa, human forces had lured Federation troops into the moon's subsurface ocean and trapped them there. on Titan Federation landing. Parties had been met with automated defense systems that seemed to predict their every move. "They're getting frustrated," Dr. Lee observed. "Look at their attack patterns. They're becoming less coordinated, more aggressive." "Good," Quan said. "The more frustrated they get, the more mistakes they'll make." His communication device beeped. "General Quan, this is Admiral Jinha. The Federation's main fleet is moving toward Earth. Estimated time of arrival, 6 hours. Understood. Admiral, Project Prometheus will be ready." "Good. Remember, timing is everything. We need to activate it at precisely the right moment." Quan ended the communication and turned to Dr. Lee. "Speed up the power sequence. We need to be at 100% in 5 hours. "That's pushing the safety limits," Dr. Lee warned. "Safety is a luxury we no longer have," Quan replied. "The Federation is bringing planet killers. If they reach Earth before we're ready, millions will die." Dr. Lee nodded and began adjusting the controls. The spinning rings around the sphere moved faster, and the humming sound grew louder. "General," one of the other scientists called out, "we're detecting unusual activity in the Federation fleet." "Their formation is changing." Quan moved to look at the scientist's screen. The Federation ships, which had been arranged in a standard attack pattern, were now spreading out. "They're adapting," Quan said. "They've realized their standard tactics aren't working against us. Is that a problem?" Dr. Lee asked. "No," Quan said with a small smile. "It's exactly what we want. The more they spread out, the more effective Prometheus will be." The hours passed quickly as the scientists worked to prepare the device. Quan received regular updates from the front lines. The Federation's second wave had been slowed but not stopped. They were pushing forward with overwhelming numbers, determined to reach Earth. "General," Dr. Lee called out, "we're at 100% power. The device is ready." Quan nodded and opened a secure channel to Admiral Jinha. "Prometheus is ready, Admiral. Awaiting your command." Jinha's face appeared on the main screen. He was on the bridge of Earth's flagship, the EDS Defiance. Behind him, officers moved quickly between stations, preparing for battle. "The Federation fleet will be in range in 30 minutes, Jinha reported. "Their commander has sent another message demanding our surrender. And your response?" Quan asked, though he already knew the answer. Jinha smiled. "I told them that Earth does not surrender. I told them that they had made the biggest mistake in their 1,000-year history." "I'm sure they took that well," Quan said dryly. "They've promised to make an example of Earth," Jinha replied. "To destroy our major cities one by one until we understand our place in the galaxy." Quan's expression hardened. "Activate the defense. Grid, prepare all ships for combat. We'll launch Prometheus when they enter Earth orbit." "Understood, General. Good luck." The communication ended, and Quan turned to the scientists. "Begin the final sequence. When I give the word, activate the device." The tension in the room was thick as everyone took their positions. On the main screen, they could see the Federation fleet approaching Earth, hundreds of massive ships, each one capable of destroying an entire city. "They're entering orbit," reported a scientist. "Their weapons are powering up." Quan watched as the Federation ships moved into position around Earth. They formed a perfect sphere, surrounding the planet completely. Their formation was flawless, their coordination perfect. It was exactly what humans had been counting on. "Now," Quan ordered. Dr. Lee pressed her hand against a scanner, and the Prometheus device activated. The spinning rings became a blur, and the sphere at the center began to glow with an intense blue light. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, on the screen, the Federation ships suddenly stopped moving. Their perfect formation began to break apart as ships drifted out of position. "It's working!" Dr. Lee exclaimed. "The quantum disruption field is blocking their communications." Quan nodded, watching as confusion spread through the Federation fleet. Without their quantum network, they couldn't coordinate their attack. Ships began to move independently, some firing weapons randomly, others trying to re-establish contact with their command centers. "Send the signal to all Earth forces," Quan ordered. "Operation Blackout is successful. Begin the counterattack. Across Earth orbit, hidden defense platforms activated. Ships that had been concealed behind the moon moved into attack position. And from the surface, a new wave of vessels launched the Phoenix fleet, Earth's secret weapon, the Phoenix ships. Was smaller than Federation vessels but faster and more maneuverable. They had been designed specifically to exploit the weaknesses in Federation technology, weaknesses that humans had spent years studying. "General," Dr. Lee said, her voice filled with wonder, "the Federation ships are retreating." "They're trying to regroup outside the disruption field?" "They won't make it," Quan said confidently. "The field extends throughout the solar system now. There's nowhere for them to hide." On the screen, the battle unfolded. Federation ships, cut off from each other and unable to coordinate, were easy targets for the human forces. The mighty alien fleet that had threatened to destroy Earth was now in complete disarray. Quan opened a channel to all Earth forces. "This is General Quan. Project Prometheus is successful. The Federation fleet is vulnerable. Press the attack. But remember, we want prisoners and intact ships. Their technology will help us take the fight to their homeworlds." As the battle continued above, Quan allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. The Federation had declared war on Earth, thinking they were punishing an upstart species. Instead, they had given humanity exactly what it needed, a common enemy to unite against. A challenge worthy of human ingenuity? "Send the message to Lieutenant Haran on Mars," Quan ordered. "Tell her to prepare for Phase 4. It's time to take the war to the Federation." The Galactic Federation had ruled through fear for 1,000 years. They had never lost a war, never faced a serious challenge to their power, until they met humans, until they made the mistake of threatening Earth. Admiral Jinha stood on the bridge of the EDS Defiance, watching as the last Federation ships tried to escape Earth's orbit. The massive alien vessels, once so threatening, now moved like wounded animals, desperate to flee. "Status report, Jinha." "Ordered, 87 Federation ships destroyed," reported his second-in-command. 132 disabled and captured. The remaining 43 are attempting to reach the jump point beyond Mars. Jinha nodded. "They won't make it. Lieutenant Haran's forces are waiting for them." The battle for Earth had lasted just 6 hours. What the Federation had planned as a swift conquest had turned into their worst defeat in 1,000 years. Their mighty fleet, which had destroyed countless civilizations, had been broken by a species they had severely underestimated. "Admiral," called out the communications officer, "we're receiving a transmission from the Federation command ship." "Put it through," Jinha ordered. The main screen lit up, showing the face of the Federation fleet commander. The alien looked shocked, its metallic skin dull with stress, its forearms moving nervously. "This is Commander Zell of the Galactic Federation," the alien said. "We request an immediate ceasefire. We are willing to discuss terms." Jinha's expression remained calm. "The time for discussion was before you threatened our world, Commander. Now you will experience the consequences of that decision." "Please," the alien said, its voice losing its earlier confidence. "We made a mistake. We didn't understand your species. We can offer reparations, technology, territory." "We don't want your charity," Jinha interrupted. "What we want is for the Federation to understand exactly who they chose to fight." He signaled to cut the transmission. The alien's face disappeared from the screen. "Prepare the jump drives," Jinha ordered. "All ships with Phoenix technology will form up on the Defiance. We jump in 30 minutes. "Sir," his second-in-command asked, "where are we jumping to?" Jinha's eyes were hard as steel. "Centauri Prime, the Federation's main shipyard and their gateway to Earth. It's time to take the fight to them." The bridge crew worked quickly, preparing the ship for the jump. The Defiance was Earth's newest and most advanced warship, built in secret using technology reverse-engineered from Federation scout ships. It could travel faster and farther than any human vessel before it. "Admiral," said the communications officer, "General Quan is calling from Project Prometheus." Quan's face appeared on a side screen. He looked tired but satisfied. The disruption field is holding, Admiral. The Federation cannot communicate with their homeworlds. They have no idea what's happened here. Good, Jinha replied. We're preparing. To jump to Centauri Prime, the Phoenix fleet will strike while they're still blind. A bold move, Quan said with approval. Lieutenant Nidharin reports that her forces have intercepted the fleeing Federation ships. None will escape to warn their people, Jinha nodded. And the captured ships? Our engineers are already studying them. The Federation's technology is advanced, but not as much as they led us to believe. Many of their systems are old, unchanged. For centuries, they became comfortable, Jinha said. They forgot how to innovate, how to adapt. That will be their downfall. The communication ended, and Jinha turned his attention back to the preparations. Around the Defiance, 50 ships had gathered the Phoenix fleet, named after the mythical bird that rose from ashes. Each vessel was equipped with a new jump drive that allowed them to travel vast distances in moments. All ships report ready. Admiral, announced the second-in-command. The Phoenix fleet awaits your orders. Jinha looked at the tactical display one last time. Earth was safe for now. The Federation fleet had been defeated, but Jinha knew this was just the beginning. The Federation controlled thousands of worlds across dozens of star systems. They would not accept defeat easily. Send a message to all ships, Jinha ordered. Today we defended our home. Tomorrow we take the fight to the enemy. The Federation declared war on humanity. Now they will learn what that really means. He sat in the command chair and fastened the safety harness. Initiate jump sequence. Target Centauri Prime. The jump drives activated, creating a field of energy around each ship. The stars outside the viewports seemed to stretch, then blur. Completely. There was a moment of disorientation as the ships moved through space in a way that defied conventional physics. Then, suddenly, they were there. Centauri Prime appeared before them, a massive space station orbiting a red dwarf star. The station was shaped like a wheel, with spokes connecting to a central hub. Around it floated hundreds of partially built ships and repair docks, and none of them were ready for an attack. They don't see us yet, reported the sensor officer. Their defense systems are inactive. Jinha nodded. They never expected an enemy to reach them here. The Federation has been the only power in this region of space for centuries. He leaned forward. Target their communication arrays first, then their power cores? I want this station disabled, not destroyed. The Phoenix fleet moved into attack formation. The Defiance led the way, its weapon systems locking onto the station's vital areas. Fire, Jinha ordered. The human ships attacked with perfect coordination. Energy beams struck the station's communication arrays, destroying them instantly. Missiles targeted power generators and defense systems. Within minutes, the massive station was dark and drifting. Admiral, reported the sensor officer, we're detecting ships launching from the far side of the station. They're trying to escape. Let them go, Jinha said. I want witnesses to spread the word. I want the Federation to know who did this. The bridge crew looked at him in surprise. It wasn't standard military procedure to allow enemy ships to escape. Sir? Questioned his second dash-in-dash command. Jinha smiled slightly. Fear is the Federation's weapon, Commander. They rule through intimidation. Now we will use their own tactics against them. Let the survivors tell others what happened here. Let them spread the fear. As the Federation ships fled, Jinha ordered the Phoenix fleet to secure the station. Boarding parties were sent to capture important areas and gather intelligence. The shipyards around Centauri Prime contained valuable resources and technology that Earth could use. Admiral, called the communications officer, we're receiving transmissions from nearby Federation worlds. They're asking what's happening. They've lost contact with Centauri Prime and Earth. Send them this message, Jinha said. The Galactic Federation declared war on Earth. Earth has answered. This is just the beginning. As the human forces took control of the station, Jinha received a transmission from Lieutenant Harin on Mars. Admiral, all Federation ships attempting to escape the solar system have been captured or destroyed, she reported. We've secured their technology and taken prisoners for questioning. Excellent work, Lieutenant, Jinha replied. Prepare your forces to join us at Centauri Prime. We're establishing a forward base here. Harin's eyes widened. You've already taken Centauri Prime? John nodded. The Federation never expected us to strike back so quickly. They thought we would be fighting for survival, not taking the offensive. What's our next target? Harin asked. Jinha looked at the star map displayed on the bridge. It showed Federation territory, thousands of worlds connected by jump points and trade routes. The Federation has spent 1,000 years building their empire, he said. We won't destroy it all at once. Instead, we'll target their key systems one by one. We'll disrupt their trade, their communication, their sense of security. He zoomed in on a particular system, Nexus Station, the Federation's main communication hub. Without it, their worlds can't coordinate with each other. That's deep in Federation space, Harin pointed out. Heavily defended. Yes, Jinha agreed, but they won't be expecting us. Not so soon after losing Centauri Prime, not when they still think of humans as a primitive species barely worth their attention. As the transmission ended, Jinha turned to look out the viewport at the captured station. Centauri Prime had been the Federation's gateway to Earth, the staging area for their invasion. Now it belonged to humans. The Federation had declared war, thinking they were punishing an upstart species. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant. They had given humanity a reason to unite, to focus its incredible capacity for innovation. An adaptation on a single goal, and that goal was now clear: the Federation would fall. 3 months into the war, Harin stood with Jinha and Ken in the war room aboard Centauri Prime. The captured station had been transformed into humanity's forward command center. Federation symbols had been replaced with Earth's unified emblem. Blue planet with stars surrounding it. Their 7th Fleet has retreated from the Orion sector, Harin reported, pointing to the large holographic map floating above the table. The map showed Federation territory in red and human-controlled areas in blue. The blue was spreading rapidly. That's the 3rd major withdrawal this week, Quan observed. He looked tired but satisfied. The general had been coordinating attacks across multiple star systems, pushing Federation forces back on all fronts. They're consolidating their forces, Jinha said, studying the map carefully, pulling back to defend their core worlds. The war had progressed faster than anyone had expected. After the capture of Centauri Prime, human forces had struck at key Federation installations throughout nearby systems. The Phoenix Fleet, now expanded to over 200 ships, could appear anywhere without warning, strike hard, and disappear before the Federation could respond. The disruption field is working perfectly, Quan added. Their quantum communication network is still down. Each system is fighting alone, with no coordination between them. Harin zoomed in on a particular section of the map. Nexus Station has fallen. Our forces captured it yesterday with minimal losses. Jinha nodded with approval. Nexus Station had been the Federation's main communication hub, connecting thousands of worlds across their territory. Without it, their empire was fragmenting. What about the Federation Council? Jinha asked. Any response to our message? After capturing Nexus Station, humans had broadcast a message to the Federation's ruling body. It was simple and direct: end the war, recognize Earth's independence, withdraw all forces from human space. They've requested peace talks, Juan said, reading from a data pad. They're offering to recognize Earth's independence and withdraw all forces from human territory. Not enough, Jinha said firmly. His expression was hard, determined. They started this war thinking they could subjugate humanity. They need to understand that was never possible. Harin studied the Admiral's face. In the 3 months since the war began, Jinha had changed. They all had. The constant fighting, the pressure of leading humanity's first interstellar war, it had hardened them, focused them. What are you proposing? She asked, Jin-Ha walked around the table, looking at the map from different angles. We don't want their territory or their resources, he said finally. But we do want a fundamental restructuring of the Federation itself. He pointed to various points on the map. No more domination of younger species. No more suppression of technological development. No more threats of war to maintain control. They'll never agree to that, Quan warned. The Federation has existed for 1,000 years with the same power structure. The ruling species won't give up their privileges easily. Then we continue until they do, Jin-Ha said simply. Harin thought about the changes the war had brought to humanity. Old rivalries between Earth nations had been set aside. Resources that had once been used for internal competition were now directed outward. Innovations that might have taken decades in peacetime had been developed in weeks. The Federation never understood what makes humans different, she said. They saw our divisions, our conflicts, our seemingly chaotic development, and thought us dangerous. We are dangerous, Quan said with a small smile, just not in the way they thought. The door to the war room opened and a young officer entered. Admiral, we've received an urgent transmission from Earth. The Federation has sent a diplomatic vessel requesting direct talks. Jin-Ha raised an eyebrow. Interesting. They're bypassing their own council to speak with us directly. It could be a trap, Quan cautioned. Scan the ship thoroughly, Jin-Ha ordered. If it checks out, allow it to dock at Centauri Prime. I want to hear what they have to say. The officer nodded and left to carry out the orders. Do you think they're serious about peace? Harin asked. I think they're serious about stopping our advance, Jin-Ha replied. Whether that means peace or just a pause to regroup remains to be seen. 2 hours later, Harin stood with Jin-Ha and Quan in the station's main conference room. The Federation diplomatic vessel had been cleared and allowed to dock. Now they waited for the alien representatives to arrive. The doors slid open and 3 Federation officials entered. To Harin's surprise, one of them was a High Chancellor, a member of the ruling council itself. The alien was tall and dignified, with the metallic skin characteristic of the Federation's dominant species. I am High Chancellor Vex, the alien said. I come with the authority of the Federation Council to negotiate an end to this conflict. Jin-Ha stepped forward. I am Admiral Jin-Ha of Earth. This is General Quan and Lieutenant Harin. We speak for humanity. The High Chancellor looked at the 3 humans with an expression Harin couldn't quite read. Was it fear, respect, confusion? 3 months ago, Vex said, I delivered the Federation's declaration of war to your planet. I believed, as did the entire Council, that Earth would quickly surrender when faced with our superior forces. You were wrong, Jin-Ha said simply. Yes, Vex admitted. We were wrong about many things. We misunderstood your species fundamentally. The alien gestured to the other 2 Federation officials who activated a holographic display. It showed the current state of the war, the Federation in retreat, human forces advancing on multiple fronts. In 1,000 years, the Federation has never faced a challenge like this, Vex continued. We have lost more ships, more territory, and more resources in 3 months than in the previous 5 centuries combined. And yet you still have not offered acceptable peace terms. Jin-Ha pointed out. Vex's metallic skin shimmered, a sign of emotion Harin had learned. The Council is divided. Some believe we should commit all our remaining forces to crushing Earth, regardless of the cost. Others believe we should sue for peace on any terms. And what do you believe, High Chancellor? Quan asked. Vex looked directly at the general. I believe we made a terrible mistake. We saw humanity's rapid advancement as a threat to galactic stability. We didn't understand that your chaotic, competitive nature is the source of your strength. The alien turned to face Jin-Ha. I am here to offer a new proposal. Not just peace, but partnership. Harin exchanged surprised glances with Quan. This was unexpected, explained, Jin-Ha said, his voice neutral. The Federation has grown stagnant, Vex admitted. We've ruled through force for so long that we've forgotten how to innovate, how to Adapt. In just 3 months, your species has developed technologies that our scientists thought impossible. The alien activated another holographic display, showing the quantum disruption field, the Phoenix jump drives, and other human innovations. We propose a restructuring of the Federation, Vex continued, not as conquerors and subjects, but as equals, each species contributing its unique strengths. Humans would have a seat on the council, with the same rights and responsibilities as the founding members. Jinha's expression remained carefully neutral. And the other species you've conquered over the centuries? What of their rights? The same offer would extend to all, Vex said. A true galactic alliance rather than a federation ruled by force. Haran watched Jinha carefully. The Admiral had led humanity through the darkest days of the war, had pushed for an offensive when others counseled caution. Now he was being offered exactly what he had demanded, a fundamental restructuring of the Federation. We will consider your proposal, Jinha said finally. But know this, humanity will never again allow itself to be threatened. If the Federation or Alliance, as you now call it, ever moves against Earth, our response will make the current war seem like a minor skirmish. Vex bowed slightly. Understood, Admiral. The Council awaits your decision. As the Federation officials left the room, Haran turned to Jinha. Do you think they're sincere? I think they're desperate, Jinha replied. But sometimes desperation leads to honesty. Quan nodded thoughtfully. The Federation has never faced defeat before. They don't know how to lose gracefully. Then perhaps it's time someone taught them, Jinha said. He walked to the viewport, looking out at the stars. The Federation declared war on Earth, thinking they were containing a threat. Instead, they may have created something new, a galaxy where power comes not from fear, but from cooperation. Haran joined him at the viewport. So we accept their offer? Jinha smiled slightly. We negotiate. We ensure that all species have true equality, and we make sure they understand one important thing. What's that? Quan asked. That Earth is just getting started, Jinha said. The Federation saw our potential and feared it. Now they'll see what humans can really do when we're not fighting for survival, but building for the future. As the three looked out at the stars, Haran thought about how far they had come. 3 months ago, Earth had faced destruction. Now they were reshaping the galaxy. All because the Federation had declared war. And Earth had smiled. 1 year after the Federation's declaration of war, Jinha stood in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council. The massive chamber had been rebuilt, transformed from the exclusive domain of the Federation's ruling species into a true gathering place. For all galactic civilizations, the circular room had seats for representatives from over 200 worlds. Some were former Federation members, now equal partners in the new Galactic Alliance. Others were species that had hidden from Federation control, emerging only after hearing of the changes brought by humans. Jinha wore a formal uniform, dark blue with silver trim, bearing Earth's new emblem. As Earth's representative to the Council, he had spent the past 6 months helping to shape the new galactic government. Quite a change from the old council chamber, said a voice beside him. Jinha turned to see Haran approaching. She too wore a formal uniform, though hers had gold trim marking her as a military commander. After the war, she had been promoted to lead Earth's defense forces. Indeed, Jinha agreed, looking around the room. The old chamber had only 12 seats, one for each of the Federation's founding species. Everyone else was just a subject, with no voice in their own governance. Haran nodded, studying the diverse beings filling the chamber. Some were humanoid, others completely alien in form. Some breathed oxygen, others methane or hydrogen. Some communicated through sound, others through light or touch. The Federation Council never understood what made humans different, Haran said. They saw our divisions, our conflicts, our seemingly chaotic development, and thought us dangerous. They weren't entirely wrong, Jinha said with a small smile. We are dangerous to tyrants and oppressors. The chamber began to quiet as the session's start time approached. Jinha and Haran took their seats in the Earth section, where Quan was already waiting. The trade agreements are ready for final approval, Quan informed them. After the war, he had shifted from military leadership to diplomatic work, helping to establish new relationships between Earth and other worlds. Any opposition? Jinha asked. Some of the former Federation core worlds are still resistant, Quan admitted. They benefited from the old system and aren't happy about sharing resources equally. They'll adapt, Harin said confidently. Or they'll be left behind. The chamber fell silent as High Chancellor Vex approached the central podium. The alien who had once delivered war to Earth now served as the transitional leader of the new alliance. Representatives of the Galactic Alliance, Vex began, his voice carrying throughout the chamber. 1 year ago today, the former Federation declared war on Earth. It was a decision based on fear and misunderstanding, a decision that led to the greatest transformation in galactic history. Jinha listened carefully. Vex had proven to be a surprisingly effective advocate for change, perhaps because he had witnessed firsthand the consequences of the old system's failure. Today we finalized the Charter of the Galactic Alliance, Vex continued. This document enshrines the principles that will guide our new shared future: equality among all species, free exchange of knowledge and technology, mutual defense against external threats, and respect for the unique development path of each civilization. The massive screens around the chamber displayed the charter translated into hundreds of languages, accessible to all representatives. Before we vote, Vex said, the Council has asked Admiral Jinha of Earth to address the Assembly. Jinha stood and walked to the central podium. Looking out at the gathered representatives, he felt the weight of the moment. Humans had gone. From facing extinction to helping reshape the galaxy in just 1 year. When the Federation declared war on Earth, Jinha began, they expected us to surrender or be destroyed. They could not imagine any other outcome, because in 1,000 years, no species had ever successfully resisted them. He paused, looking around the chamber, but humans are different. Not because we are stronger or smarter or more advanced, but because we have spent our entire history fighting. Sometimes fighting each other, sometimes fighting our environment, always fighting to survive and improve. Jinha gestured to the charter displayed on the screens. The Federation saw this as a weakness, our chaotic, competitive nature. They didn't understand that this is the source of our strength. Humans thrive under pressure. We innovate when faced with impossible odds. We become our best selves when fighting for survival. Many representatives nodded in agreement. Some had witnessed human determination firsthand during the war. But the greatest strength of humanity is not our ability to fight, Jinha continued. It is our ability to make peace, to forgive, to build something better from the ashes of conflict. He looked directly at Vex and the other former Federation leaders. We could have destroyed the Federation completely. We had the military advantage, the momentum, the will to continue fighting. Instead, we chose to create something new, not an empire ruled by humans, but a true alliance of equals. Jinha's voice grew stronger, more passionate. The charter before. You today is not a human document. It is not a Federation document. It is a galactic document, created through the contributions of all our civilizations. It represents not the end of our unique cultures, but the beginning of something greater, a galaxy where diversity is strength, where cooperation replaces conquest. The chamber was completely silent now, every representative focused on Jinha's words. 1 year ago, the Federation declared war on Earth, thinking they were containing a threat. They didn't realize they were unleashing humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy, our endless capacity for change. For growth, for transformation, Jinha stepped back from the podium. I urge all representatives to approve the charter, not because it is perfect, no document created by imperfect beings could be, but because it is a beginning. A first step toward a galaxy that works not for the few, but for all. As Jinha returned to his seat, the chamber erupted in applause. Species that had once been bitter enemies now stood together, united by a new vision of the future. The vote was nearly unanimous. The Charter of the Galactic Alliance was approved, and a new era began after the session. Jinha stood with Harin and Quan on a balcony overlooking the capital city. Ships from dozens of worlds moved through the sky, their designs as varied as the species that built them. "Did you ever imagine this outcome when the Federation declared war?" Harin asked. Jinha shook his head. "No one could have predicted this. We were fighting for survival, not to reshape the galaxy." "And yet here we are," Quan said, gesturing to the city below. "Humans are now traveling to worlds we never knew existed, learning technologies we never imagined, meeting species with entirely different ways of thinking. The Federation Council never understood what they were doing when they declared war on us," Harin said. "They thought they were punishing an upstart species. Instead, they gave us the greatest gift possible, a worthy challenge." Jinha nodded, watching as a ship from Earth landed at the spaceport below. It carried scientists, artists, diplomats, and explorers, humans eager to share their unique perspective with the galaxy. "When the Federation declared war," Jinha said quietly, "Earth didn't panic. Earth didn't surrender. Earth smiled," Quan finished. "Because finally, humanity had found its place in the universe. Finally, it was time to show the galaxy what humans could really do." As night fell on the capital world, Jinha thought about the long journey that had brought them here. From a single planet, threatened with destruction, to key members of a galactic civilization. It had all happened because the Federation had made one crucial mistake. They had declared war on the one species that welcomed the challenge, and now the galaxy would never be the same. Because when the Galactic Federation declared war, Earth smiled like it was finally time, and it was.